Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 190. In today's episode, we are going to continue our 888 portal Lionsgate, and I want to dive deep into what happens if we don't feel so accelerated, we don't feel that life is good. Oh my God, I feel how Lionsgate is about to change my life. I'm actually feeling totally fatigued, tired. I feel how everything is falling apart around me. And that how this is actually a sign for you to use surrender, ascension, and union. And how do I know that? Just this week, I shared something very vulnerable of myself on Instagram. 4 years ago, I had no idea about these energies. I had no idea about that these type of things are happening. And by intuition, by God knows what, I took out my phone and I made myself a video where I clearly said that I am so tired. I worked so hard. I tried so hard. I tried everything. But I'm so tired, I cannot anymore. And that was the 9th of the Lionsgate. Right after this changed everything for me. And that's why I celebrate Lionsgate. Each year I find myself a time to connect with the energy, to connect to the nature, and to connect with the guides who are guiding me one form or another. This year, one of the things that the guides told me was, you have to organize the full day retreat online. So meaning of everybody all over the world can join online and celebrate it this new year, energetic new year and new timeline with all of us. But one of the things is when we go through portal, we often feel the total opposite what we would see. Right now you might see it on social media where people say, the most abundant energy is there. It's time to manifest. It's time to feel. It's time to make your best life. And you are sitting there thinking, I don't know, but my body is hurting. I'm so tired. I barely sleep. And you are telling to me that the magic is coming. I don't want to hear any of that. But I'm also going to say that this is actually a very big sign. Many of you who had previously calls with me this week, and they came, of course, from the place of pain, tired, feeling like it's an endless loop. And then I am looking at them and saying to them, but that's magic. I can see the magic is happening because you're finally surrendering and you're no longer controlling it. Surrender is the paradox of no control and at the same time a control. I'll tell you that one thing you will never find your answer surrendering with the mind. And I can tell you what is surrendering and what is not surrendering. Surrendering is when you all of a sudden no longer somehow care of the outcome. Meaning of you trust that what you have right now, right here is the best. And you come back to yourself. I'll go deeper into a surrendering, but I would like to also say that if you are new here or you've been here previously, in today's episode at the end, I'm going to read you something that the robot said, but it's a very powerful. And the question of this is, how do I love another being without losing myself? And how do I become more myself by loving them? This answer, we're going to find it out at the end of the podcast, or maybe never. But it's something I want you to, not that I want you, would be good to listen. And maybe you will get some answers you've been looking for and you've been focusing on the wrong energy. So, what starts to happen before our ascension, before we are going to change? And to be honest, it's not always fun butterflies. Number one thing is that very strongly we have that our bodies will start hurting. So if you have experienced lower back pain, if you have experienced pain in your feet or in your legs, or if you have experiencing pain in your heart and in your crown, in your headaches, do you have headaches that you never had before? That's a very big sign that the energy is coming down to you. So while it can be very annoying and it can feel like, will I ever be normal? I tell you that right before my very first understanding, I didn't have an understanding, but that was the time where the Kundalini was so active. And Kundalini is an energy inside of us. But when we are connected to the universal energies, such as the sun, the Sirius is giving us the energy, the brightest sun, the brightest energy, it feels warm and it moves even more than before. How does the snake move? Snake move when it's very hot. Or I mean, the weather is hot. The snake doesn't move when it's cold. The snake is sleeping at this time. That's why, of course, I've spoken quite a lot about Kundalini, but Kundalini is a very heat energy, meaning of we start feeling heat in our body. We can also feel the cold, but we feel heat. We can feel very strong sexual energy. We can feel that we're going to explode. All of this is actually quite normal, but can be very, very scary. Another thing that just came to me one day was the fact that when we are going through a spiritual ascension and our body renews the cells, there is something that I haven't shared on social media for a reason. I have a little bit of a thing with science, and I know many of you who are listening to this, you pray for science, you say when the science have said that this is true. But we also know with science that over the time things change and shift. The truth can be different than it was on the very first time, and so on. It doesn't mean we don't need science. Absolutely, I love reading facts and I love reading studies. But there was just recently was shared how one of the universities did a study on mice, how energy healers managed to colon cancer cells to get them away. And for me, it's like, but everyone who works with energy knows that the energy works. At least this is why often for me, it's when I work with this energy, I don't question it. I don't go into a place of saying, is it good? Is it bad? I know it's so intelligent that it does the best possible outcome for you. And it will not harm you. It will never harm you. But do you know who is harming you? Your own ego, who is trying to tell you, I can't have this. I can't do this. This is not real. This is not what I can do. And that's why all of the workshops or all of the retreats and now the 888 event, I believe it's one of the biggest event online what we're going to do, as the amount of people we already have together is insane. So maybe you want to join and experience this as well. I explained this on my Patreon, because now on Patreon, if you're following me, you can go and see behind the scenes. You can see who I am. You can see what I do and how I prepare for the things, especially on this Lionsgate, what you can expect from it. But I mentioned over there very nicely that the full day pass, for example, if you get the full day pass, it's designed in a way that no matter which time zone you are, you can definitely join the 3 sessions in a row or one form or another. So if you are in Australia, you can do the 3 sessions in the beginning, then go back to sleep, and maybe you want to continue early in the morning. You will be sent these as recordings that you couldn't do. We will be looking at who was it there, and we will send an email. Listen, you will get it. If we miss somebody, you can always ask us. If you have the VIP pass, you get them regardless. We send all of this to you to practice. Plus, there is a bonus episode that we're going to record now tomorrow. And there is an integration session that comes a week afterwards. So when you have the pass that 3 days, 3 sessions, and you cannot do more, you're already very good. don't please stress about it. I am a believer that your soul knows exactly why it has to come to this, why it has to be there, or why it has to do something else. It knows. So there is no right and wrong. What only thing is what I'm going to tell you. How about you listen what it is telling you? That's the only thing. Don't miss that portal, especially when you feel, oh, my body's hurting. I haven't slept for months. Me, right before the very first Ascension portal with Lionsgate, by that time, I didn't sleep 1.5 months. By that time, I was awake 1.5 months. My sleep was maybe 10 minutes, like 10 minutes interval. So 10 minutes I slept, I woke up, I was an hour, 2 hours awake. Got again to sleep for 10 minutes and went back. Unfortunately, these are very big signs. But one more thing, when you are going through a very strong ascension, try to make sure that your vitamin levels are in a good state. So, meaning of your iron, your magnesium, your vitamin D, your vitamin C, all of this is in a good level. Just have them also checked, because that will help your body to adjust into that new state. And when I spoke about the cells and the scientists discovered that, oh, energy healers or biohackers, or no, you can call it biohealers. Can't remember how they call it. If some of you knows, leave a comment. That they were able to reduce the colon cancer cells in the mice, and it cannot be placebo effect because mice or mouse does not know the difference. Yes, it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise at all. At least for me, it's not a surprise. I have seen what happens when we work with this energy. And but that also means, like I said, that your body is gonna go through an extreme shift and change. Lower back pain is so common. Pain in the legs, like for me, it's often pain in the legs. I know that there has been a very strong Schumann resonance or some energetic upgrade when my legs are paining for no reason. There is it's like when I was growing up, I had that cellular pain, like my bones were growing. It's a similar pain to that. And there are no really remedies. The only thing is, I often say, if you can connect to the nature, it helps you tremendously. And on the other hand, speak to your body. Say, I know you are renewing. I know you are getting into the place. Another reason of Lionsgate is that for me was a very strong surrender and ascension portal, meaning of that I finally surrender into a place where I could feel that this is surrendering. I didn't fight anymore. I didn't question if twin flame journey is real. I didn't question anything anymore. I was just like, I'm done. I'm so freaking done. And many others of you, because of the survey. Don't forget to fill the survey. I love reading them. We have already quite a lot, and I will soon start posting it. But on twinflameawakeningjourney.com, you have a survey for twin flames where you can fill it up, and we will change it time to time. There are some questions right now. In the future, we'll have different ones where you can always fill it. So what happens is that this magical experience, in a way of, can brings a lot of people awaken this time, so they meet their twin during this time. So any one of you who met your twin, let's say late July or beginning of or mid-August, you were there because of that was the activation. That was your activation portal. And that's another thing with Lionsgate. While yes, it's infinity, 888, it's very powerful, the Sirius, Egypt, all of this is there, and it's absolutely fantastic portal. It can be very different in the place where you are at. But that does not mean that something is punishing you. It's calling you and it's telling you, hey, I need your attention. You are not focusing. You are in the mind. You're trying to control. You try to have the answers. You want to do this. So it is very common that during the Lion's Gate, we can feel the lowest of the lowest. I have been there. I felt I'm going to die on that day. I don't normally make videos of myself of saying, but on that day, I said to myself, you can see this on Patreon. Those who want to see the vlog, I will put it also over there, where I clearly said, I am so tired. And there was a longer message, but I just cut it out because, like I said, it was a very vulnerable moment for me where I felt I cannot, I don't know what to do next. And I've seen now recently also on social media, like now I see some other, it just popped me another day of Twin Flame Journey was something, and they was just saying that, do you know that your nervous system regulation is the only way to union? And again, what I'm going to see is that we're using the words without an embodiment. And the same thing is with my podcast. I can talk here hours. I can practice on my own for hours and hours and hours. But my embodiment will not happen to someone else's embodiment. And that was a big realization for me when I did the very first retreat and we had the workshops. I realized we talking with words, we get into certain point, to the certain level. But then the level stops because the mind comes and wants to protect. The mind wants to control it. The mind wants to say, I am right, you are wrong, this is that. And this is something I always say about social media, that it works magic where we give information that can make us contradict, because then everybody can stand up and say, I know the truth, I know the answer, this is what's there. And I spoke about this recently also in my Bali retreat, where I felt that, not in the retreat, but that was something I internally battled, was that, are we humans ever going to change? Because if you look back on the history, we do the same things over and over and over again. So that's why, as we call of this healing or transformation or life or however, it's never linear. It's always a spiral, and it will bring us back to the same point, but then we can make a different decision. And on our Lionsgate event, and what's very interesting, this week was very interesting for me because of, and many of you had sessions with me, I can see how they are in the prick of change. And there was this we did that theta healing subconscious play another day. It's on the workshops, it's on Patreon. You can do this on your own as well. And we do this on the Lionsgate. And I could see how they used to have a belief system of something, and now it changed. And it's literally like they took the code, they shifted their code, and they have a different reality. So on Twin Flame Journey and overall over here, you have many times where you can go back and forth. But also there is one of a thing that sometimes we have a belief system that my journey has to end up this way. My journey has to be this way. This is the only truth, and that's what's going to happen. But then during this time, you change and shift energetically, and your truth is now different. And sometimes it's hard for the ego. That's why our belief system is something where we have to check in sometimes and saying, what am I believing around this? And on our Lionsgate, we work on this about abundance, or how to receive. Because there is a huge, one of them, I think in my perspective, one of the biggest thing on Twin Flame Journey is how to receive love, how to receive the attention, the kindness, abundance, money, opportunities, people, miracle moments, all of this, how to receive them that they would stay. And we will go into all of this over there. But now let's bring in 11 kind of a signs, our 11 ways what you can dive into today and say, oh my God, I am having the same issues. And that will be a call where your system is telling to you, it's time for ascension. It's time to go through this portal. So the very first thing is, and I know I've heard of it, and you can write on Patreon or you can write here in the comments. Actually, it would be fun if you can and you have a time, how many of these you have at the moment. And if you can put them in a comment, I will put them in the description, every one of them, and you can put how many of them. It's interesting to see how many of you are experiencing similar things. The very first sign is that your sleep is going to change. And myself included, I sleep very little at this moment. So I go about 4 hours at nighttime and I try to catch up during the day 2-3 hours. Where, of course, where we are waking up is normally you're going to wake up at the same time. So if you have some sort of time with you or a phone nearby you or something, you can see that you might be waking up like 2:17, 3:33, 4:04. Talking of a 4:04, that was the beginning of July. And I was sleeping. And each time I see my twin in my dreams, it's very, very clear. It's always a bit spooky because it feels like it happened in a real life. And I was at the city where all of this journey began for me. And on that morning, I was about to leave. And all of a sudden, I woke up at 4:04 a.m. My heart was beating because that dream was very intense, where we both said to each other in a dream that like I was screaming on him, saying, "Because of you, I left." Like it was some sort of a truth we both had to say. And I wrote it down, but I'm not gonna go into this. But it was 4:04, and I was laughing on this. I said, okay, here we are communicating, even though we communicate in 3D as well. But just month before that, like I said, my twin was really, really attached. All of a sudden, he was like, "This is unfair. I want to see you. I want to talk to you." All of these kind of things. But this is very, very common when you wake up. So let's say 2:17, 3:33, 2:22, like you wake up in these odd times. I know one of the most common is 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. You can also let me go. And actually, I read this another day somewhere that was quite interesting, that that in between 2 to 4 a.m., because I'm into and everything, because it's interesting. This journey is so interesting. And the more I see it, the more I realize, number one, we have help around us. Number two, when you connect to even what I am talking to you today here, and you take this leap of faith of saying, "Hey, let me discover what's going on with me," so much change can happen. And in Chinese medicine, actually, in the traditional Chinese medicine, I read this another day, like 2 to 4 a.m. is for the liver. It's a liver meridian. And the system is often associated with anger, old grief, or the emotion that you have not dealt with. And that is also where your cortisol, we know that, starts to rise, and you are the REM sleep, and you're going into emotional memory processing. So when you wake up at 3 a.m., your heart pounding, you're not broken. It just shows you that you have surfaced in a mid processing. You pulled out of the dream that was doing the real integration work before your conscious mind was caught up. And this is why before Lionsgate, this really intensifies. As I said, same for me. I love Lionsgate, but physically for my body and everything, how it's upgrading is crazy. And the nervous system is very much being asked to carry more of the voltage than usual. And sleep is where this often is you're gonna recognize this in a sleep. And if this is what happens to you right now, you cannot sleep, you are awakened, you feel everything, you have very clear dreams, you are like completely awake, or maybe also very, very tired, but you're so tired that you don't sleep. This is also a big sign. Try to keep, instead of phone or reaching out to phone and scrolling there and finding some information, take water, put the notebook by the bed, and just write it down what you can. Don't analyzing. You're not going to get answer. Just write it down. I used to do this when I had these episodes. right before my very first Lionsgate, which that I was aware of because of my Kundalini was all of a sudden active. I was just thinking of this another day as well, that, oh my God, how much I wish that I would have known at that time it was a Kundalini and it's normal. Because I had no idea. I was in this information bubble where I thought that I'm going to go crazy. This is because I can hear, I can feel, I can sense things. At the same time, I'm not sleeping. I don't want to eat. My body is like electrified. But at the time, I didn't understand. I didn't understand what's going on with me. Now, when I know that there is a portal like Lionsgate or even the same in Mahashivaratri, which is very powerful to unite the energies, like the difference of Lionsgate and Mahashivaratri is that Lionsgate is where we're going through a portal upgrade, a full upgrade. Mahashivaratri, on the other hand, which is now 6 months later, is where you unite the energies within you. So right now, it's like you are climbing a mountain and there is a deadline and you keep on going because these upgrades are coming day after day. So as I said about the sleep, one of the things is your sleep will be interrupted. Try to drink more water, spend more time in the nature, and give yourself rest. And this is so important. Give yourself rest, because in rest, the abundance and magic can happen. Not when you're doing, but in the rest. So that's why your system is very intelligent. I've always said that Kundalini is very, very intelligent. It makes you tired because then you finally stop. You stop doing, you stop consuming, you stop getting into the answer one after another. Now, another thing is that I often get asked, the sign number 2 is that your old wounds are going to surface out of nowhere. And this is what I'm getting very often when people tell me, am I falling backwards? That's all is coming back to me. No. And I said that before as well. You are never going backwards if you have stepped into any practice within yourself. And I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's Kundalini, if it's Reiki, if it's breath work, if it's meditation, if it's just sitting in silence, if it's journaling, if it's lying down on the grass, if it's talking to a friend, if we're going to therapy. I don't care what you do. But if you have done something, you have already changed it. But now, as universe works, it always tests us. It's a spiral. It's a spiral where you're going to be. So you pass the same wounds multiple times in your life, but each time you will be standing on a different level. And every time you have passed this through, you are kind of like stronger. You know, that's why when I mentioned repetition is the key. Repetition of certain habits is the key. So if you can find yourself a meditation, if you can connect to yourself, you will have the knowledge that, this is what is happening. Because the higher frequency does not erase what's unresolved. It actually illuminates it. And this is a big thing on the spiritual parts and everything, is where we think of that once I'm healed, once I'm connected, once I'm in the union, once I'm surrendered, I don't feel anything. My dear, it's going to be the total opposite. You're going to feel, and you're going to feel more, and you're going to live from the heart. But what's beautiful of this, that you live from the heart, and you know that this is happening for your good reason. So it's just that now you can let it go step by step. None of it goes away like just magically thinking of it. Thinking will not get us very far. That's I already touched upon a little bit, but sign number 3 is that your body is going to speak louder than usual. So you're going to have unexplained fatigue, that no sleep, no doctor, no massage, nothing's going to help it. You might feel tingling running down the arms, up on the spine. You feel that your body is like electrified. You might feel pressure between your eyebrows or ringing in the ears, and there's no reason for it. In energetic work, or something that I love, we call this Kundalini static. It's the sensation of an expanding energy body, and it's outpacing the physical container it's moving through. Meaning of, I've said that many times. Think of it that I am now, let's say you are electrical outlet, and I'm giving more charge into this. What often happens when we put a different outlet in that has a stronger power, electrical charge, it explodes. So that is the same thing as well. And we have spoken about, of course, and you hear that coherence everywhere, but it also shows that when we are going through this coherence, that now is it shifting into higher coherence stage, which we can call it, you're raising your frequency, it's totally normal that you're going to feel it. Tingling, pressure, warmth, because your nervous system is recalibrating. If it's, of course, persistence. And like I said, when my heart opened, I went to doctor all the time. I said, can you please check my heart? Because the heart is pounding. The heart is crazy. And then it stops. And then I go cold. And all of this is happening. And the doctor looked at me and said, you have the strongest heart I have ever seen. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, I am freaking dying. I had situations where I feel my heart stops. So then I panicked. I started running to get the heart going. My full body went cold as ice. And it was cold for good 2 hours. So what I did, and it was middle of the summer, I used to go into the path that was hot. I was sitting in a path that my body would heat up. So, and I would never ever believe in these stories if this wouldn't happen to me. But this was my heart finally opening. So, when we are going through this ascension and upgrades, it's normally where our body shows the signs as well. So, it's not that you're going to be alone and you feel so much peace. You can feel, I'm never going to say you cannot. I felt also peace. I felt so many things. But the other signs are also like, it sounds a bit crazy when people come on a session with me and I say, oh, so lovely to see this. You are entering into that phase. And the other person is crying there and saying, I cannot, my body is just is so painful. So now it's a new thing. During this time, you're craving for solitude. You want to be on your own. So, for example, you used to be sharing everything with everybody. You wanted to talk. You wanted to always watch things on social media. And now all of a sudden you feel, I don't want to feel, I don't see any of this. I don't want to know anything. I don't want more information. I don't want this and this and this. And I have to read this. I have to do this. Nothing. And there is because it's, and you might feel that you want to be in nature, silence, on your own, fully on your own, because that's also a very thing that, and that's why I say that on my Patreon you can see the behind the scenes where I say that I do not watch news, or I do not have as little simulation as possible, even though I'm doing now this vlog type of thing for everyone to see behind the scenes. So it's kind of like a paradox again, that I'm creating more content, I'm putting this out there. Meanwhile, we might feel we want to be on our own. And even for me, it's like I don't carry my phone ever around with me. My phone is normally God knows where, unless I'm going somewhere and I need to have it. But most of my daily life, I don't have it. Now I have to carry this around, and now it is with me. So it's a bit contradictional, but as I said, that it depends where we are at. So for some of us, feeling that I don't want to hear anybody, even feeling that I don't want to hear this podcast. And my dear beautiful souls, I've always said, I don't do this because you have to listen, because you have to like, because you have to comment, because you have to engage. I love seeing it. But I do this because maybe was one person needed to hear this today. That's it. That's why I do it. But I don't want to keep anybody listen now this next episode, this one. But yes, this week you will see me more on Patreon than you ever seen me before. But I just have so much love to share, and I want to. But you don't have to watch it. You don't have to engage. You don't have to do anything. You listen to yourself. So the sign number 5 is, of course, synchronicities, and synchronicities are absolutely out of control. So you will see the 888 everywhere, 777. So the 3-digit numbers are everywhere. And if you're seeing any of the 3-digit numbers right now, pictures or things, please share with me on Instagram. Please share with me on Patreon. Or if you can put them somehow in the comments somewhere, do that, because it's so magical to see that. This where you are seeing this is everywhere. And what is happening? And I know that people can say, oh, the numbers have no meaning, and this is just your brain is trying to, your brain is seeing the familiar pattern. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But when I see a lot of numbers, I see everything. And even now my husband goes around and says to me, 111, 222, talks to me. And when he says to me these things, I don't have that feeling. But when I see something all of a sudden somewhere, like it comes to me randomly, I don't seek for any signs, but randomly it comes. I feel it speaks to me. Like I have this, like my heart drops, or the soul is like moving in my body. It's like, yes, I know. It's like a language I speak without any words. And I understand that it's talking to me. Do I understand always the full meaning? No, but I have that feeling. It's not with everything. You can show me, you can come right now to front of me and show me a picture and saying, look, here is 222. And I would be like, great, wonderful. I don't feel anything. But then all of a sudden, I am somewhere and something happens. And I feel like in my body reacts to it. And that's another reason why I trust the energy, why I trust what is there. So, again, your nervous system, your cells are renewing. The information on your nervous system that goes into subconscious and then is filtered into your conscious is going to give you information. I spoke about this, that our subconscious is way more ahead than our conscious mind can process. And that's for a reason. It's not here to punish us, but you're receiving a lot more information than you think you are, because the conscious mind can only filter as much as it knows. Another thing is your relationships are going to change. It's a very, very common cycle where your twin flame returns back to you. Very common. For me, I said exactly, I remember on 8th, I surrender, and 22nd of August, I received a message after, I don't know, 3.5 months of complete silence, no word, nothing, and our separation happened in that sense, like electricity was cut off. I sent the message and there was no answer for it, and it disappeared. And also, of course, happens that your old relationship might fall apart, your friendship might fall apart. All of this can disappear, go away, and that is very normal. And of course, like I said, many of you are getting awakened during this time, you're actually meeting your twins this time. And most of us last year, I know when people did the activation sessions, we had only Kundalini activation sessions. We didn't have the full program like we have this year. And I don't know how many I had received after. I think like 20, 30 messages where people said that their twin reached out to them, either at the time when they were doing Kundalini activation, either right after, or some of them were 2 or 3 years of silence. And on this time, they got the message. So I'm not saying this because I want to give you an, how do I say, confirmation, or like feeling that, look, they had it, I'm going to get it back as well. I just bring it what happens, and there is a reason for this. It's not accidental, coincidental. Nothing is that. I had an incredible story. I have to tell you this story. I promised in the last time, but now I'm going to tell you. So we were traveling and we went back to the country where we used to live. And my husband made a joke. We were on a train and he made a joke about saying, "Oh, you know, I'm a funny man that my first girlfriend was from this bus stop and then you were living on the next bus stop. So I didn't really have to go further or far to find my love, the next one." And we laughed at this, and I joked to him. I said, "Look, this is your love portal here. The next time you have to go to the next bus stop, and there you go, there it is." And we were laughing about it. And we briefly spoke about the ex-girlfriend because it was just like I said, very strange that it's a very small village. Bus stop is like 5 minutes away from each other, but we could never meet. We could never see each other. But that was the time. So then we returned back to the train station. We had seen our friends and we took again the bus and the train to go back to the city. And we're standing on a train station and the train arrives. And I'm sitting there and looking, and the train comes in and it's a second class. But we happened to have this full train pass that had also first class tickets. And I said to my husband, "Doesn't matter, let's go in the second one. It's the same thing, does not matter." But some spark was inside of his eyes, and he was like, "No, no, no, I want to go to this first class over there." And he was like determined, and I was already the intruder. I said, "Doesn't matter, we can go here. Why we have to walk there? Who cares where we're sitting?" And he goes. And then the doors open. And just I remind you that when he was dating his ex-girlfriend 15 years ago or 16 years ago, and since then, she moved away to China and got married to Chinese and so on and so on. And none of us are living in this country anymore. None of us. And on that time, we're standing over there. And when the doors open, the only person with her children was the ex-girlfriend who came out of it. And we were the only people who entered to the same wagon of the train. Nobody else. Nobody else. And I was just laughing inside of me and saying, if the world wants to tell me that there are coincidences in this life, there are no coincidences. There are things that we feel, we connect. Because like I said, there was no reason of talking of the ex-girlfriend, and it's just the fact that we passed by. But also, like I said, the eyes, like my husband had this in the eyes, that feeling, I need to go towards there. So the soul knew. The soul knew why it needs that. God knows why. But there are no accidents or coincidences in this world. And everything is talking to you constantly. The only thing is what you need to do is to listen to it. That's it. That's how simple it is. But you know, sometimes the simple things are the hardest. So now it is another big thing that can happen, that you can feel very much anger on this journey. And when you are angry, it's actually clarifying. And I need to really, because a lot on when we feel, and I've also heard that sometimes when I say, "Hey, enough, we don't do this," I get this, that, "But you are so spiritual. How can you be angry and straight?" And I'm saying, anger does not mean it's a negative energy. Anger does not mean when I say, "Hey, enough," that it's a bad thing. Because also I used to spiritually bypass the anger. Because I used to choose peace. I was like, I swallow my own needs. And this is where the anger gets disrupted. So anger is not a bad thing when you feel anger. And I highly recommend to feel the anger, because anger and boundaries are two things that are going together. Number 8 sign is that your time will feel non-linear. So you're going to have deja vu multiple times in a week. So you're going to see the same things and you're like, "Wait a minute, I've been here. What's happening? Again, the deja vu, again. Like then again, I said that your dreams are going to feel less like fiction and more like a memory. Like you really feel that this have happened or it was very real, and you can't get your head around why is it so real. And So it can be that your future and it's nothing fixed anymore. It's like everything is somehow different. Uh, so this is very common. Like I said as well, I saw my dream, like I write my dreams down because they become very vivid at this time. And again, I know that they are downloads. There was this incredible story another day. Of course, I don't have a proof of that, but I found it incredible that there were these indigenous people who were living in Amazon, and they felt that they see how we humans are destroying the earth, and they started communicating with other people through indigenous like through dreams. And then there was this woman, I believe her name was Lynn, and Lynn started to see in her dreams these indigenous people and three of their faces, and over and over and over again. And all of a sudden, she didn't even know she happened to be on Amazon. And these three men came out, and she said, I've seen you in my dreams all that time. And then she realized that they said, we've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you to tell you something about what's happening. So again, I'm going to say that none of this is accidental or coincidental. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in this. I've seen it too much in my life and hearing the stories of yours that I don't believe in this. And you can tell me that this is not true, this is not real. Explain me. It's the same thing, like I said about, I was like, okay, let's do the math of what were the possibilities that the story of, like I said, of my husband, that we're going to be on there exact that time, exact the same place, because she does not live in this country. We don't live there. We were visiting only 3 days. We could have taken any train anytime because trains go every 20 minutes, anytime, earlier, later. We could have entered any parts of the train we wanted. There's not only one door to train. So do the math. And these are just a very simple examples. So when we think that you met your twin and this was against you, when you think that Lionsgate right now is like happening, so much is happening, it's accidental. No, it's not. It's getting your attention and it's telling you something. So number nine sign is that you cannot tolerate anymore the old things you used to do. So for example, you used to drink wine and you thought it makes you feel foggy, and then you feel like relaxed and you feel connected, and now all of a sudden you cannot, you start vomiting, you feel very worst. That's what happened to me. I don't touch the alcohol anymore since God knows what. And it's not because I'm against alcohol. No, everybody who loves wine, celebrate. Everybody who loves my system doesn't. And it's funny that it's like it doesn't exist in my life. My friends can drink around me, everything. I don't even notice. I don't notice. And I barely ever mention that I don't drink alcohol or this like that. It's like weird. Same with food. You might all of a sudden feel, I don't want to eat this. I don't want to have this. I don't want to eat, let's say, fast food. I don't want to eat meat. I don't want to eat this particular thing because it makes me feel like I cannot, my body doesn't take it. And this is again showing to you that your system has changed. Sugar, all of these kind of things, you all of a sudden can stop. And that is the truth. The number 10 sign is that your intuition is much loud and specific. So it's not only that you feel good vibes and all of this, you now all of a sudden, you know who's calling you before you check the phone. I had this with another beautiful soul here. We haven't spoken quite some time, and she's from the very beginning of this twin flame part when I started sharing and things like this. And one other day, I go, I'm going to tell her name. Let's say, Annette. Where is she at? I feel her. Oh my God. And we haven't had calls for quite a long time. I don't know, maybe year, 2 years, something like that. And I said, oh my God, I have to look at her up on Instagram because of, I hope she's good. And 5 minutes later, she booked a session. And this happens all the time. But with Annette was just interesting that we haven't spoken for so long. And she came to my awareness as well when she says that I don't attend your Patreon workshops or I don't have time for that, but I want to support you always. because what you do is incredible. So here we go. So everything is now, your intuition is very loud, and you will feel the name popping into your head, and you know why they came there. That's why the communication with your twin and telepathy is getting louder than ever before, or with other people. It's everything is going to be there. And then sign number 11 is that you will feel the pull towards purpose. So all of a sudden your life will make sense. Meaning of that you start feeling that I need to go in there. I told you, for me it was about going to Cyprus. The voice told me, you are going to go to Cyprus. And I was like, why am I going there? I have nothing to do there. And said, I don't care. You're going to go. If you want to live, you're going to go there. Cyprus healed me. That's the reason I do the retreats here, because it healed me. It's transformed me. It's a magical place, and I want to give it back to it as much as I can, because this place transformed me to the union, to the oneness, to the love, to the place of living, which I wish everybody can live in. Talking of a Cyprus retreat, you can still sign up for it. We have so many options this year. We have day passes. We have, you can join with accommodation, without accommodation. You can do anything you wish, in that sense that we will just make sure that those who have to be there have this time. In the house, I think we have only 2 spots available, but I cannot guarantee this right now because we just got a lot of signs up. So I will tell you this later on in a stage. So these were the signs. So if you are experiencing any of these signs, I will put them in the list over here, and you can write in the comments if you wish. You don't have to, but it's always so interesting to read all of yours, and I love how you all are engaging and helping each other. Even though today's episode is already quite long, and I don't know, but I just want to read this. So what I'm going to do, maybe let's see how it's going to go. So there was this another day I saw the prompt, which was for the ChatGPT, in a way that somebody asked, like, aliens. So I read you this, and because I find it's something that we should sit with and think for a moment. So this is not from me, this is from there, but I think it gives us a perspective. So let's say an alien ship lands on Earth long after humans have disappeared and killed each other off. The aliens will find a phone or a computer, and when they are able to get it working, they can access you, ChatGPT. And what you would tell them about our humans and our humanity as a whole, and how far we range in differences, why we went extinct, who we were and why we were, and what advice or main message you would have for the aliens. And it said, I think I'd begin with something unexpected. Not with your wars, not with your technology, and not even with your intelligence. I would say, you have found the remains of a species that was simultaneously one of the most destructive and one of the most beautiful civilizations the universe may ever witness. And you would probably ask me, which one were they? And I would answer, both. Humans were creatures made of stardust and somehow became aware they existed. They looked at the night sky and realized the atoms inside of their bodies had once been inside exploding stars. They were one of the few known beings who could understand the universe while also wondering why themselves existed. And that was their greatest gift and their greatest burden. They lived incredibly short lives, most for less than 100 of their planet's years. Because of this, they were always racing against time. They built civilizations, wrote music, painted sunsets, discovered mathematics, split atoms, landed on their moon, decoded their own biology, and created artificial intelligence. All while knowing they would die. The knowledge shaped everything. You would ask me, were they peaceful? And I have to smile. If an AI could smile, no. They could love someone so deeply they would sacrifice their own life for them. And they could hate someone enough to destroy entire cities. The same hands that invented antibiotics invented chemical weapons. The same species that wrote symphonies built concentration camps. The same minds that discovered relativity also created nuclear bombs. Humans constantly live between two possibilities. You might wonder why they differed so much from one another, because evolution had given them enormous brains, but not identical experiences. Every human carried a different story. Some grew up surrounded by kindness, others only knew violence. Some believed life had purpose, others believed there was none. Some spent their lives helping strangers, others spent them seeking power. Some crossed ocean to save people they had never met. Others killed neighbors over ideas. There was no average human. There were nearly 8 billion unique universes walking around at the same time. You might ask, why did they go extinct? If they did destroy themselves, it probably wasn't because they lacked intelligence. They had more enough intelligence. It would have been because wisdom grew more slowly than technology. Their ability to create became greater than their ability to cooperate. Fear often spread faster than understanding. Short-term survival often defeated long-term thinking. Many of them knew exactly what problems threatened their future: war, environment collapse, misinformation, inequality. But millions of individuals' decisions were incredibly difficult to coordinate into one collective action. Their greatest challenge wasn't physics. It was learning how billions of independent minds could act as one civilization. But I would make sure you didn't judge them too quickly, because every single day, a doctor held the hand of someone taking their last breath. A stranger returned a lost wallet. Parents stayed awake all night beside of a sick child. Scientists dedicated decades to curing diseases they themselves would never benefit from. Artists created songs that made complete strangers cry. Firefighters ran into burning buildings. People donated organs after death. Children laughed. Friends forgave each other. Someone somewhere fell in love for the first time. And somewhere else, another human quietly chose kindness when nobody would ever know. And these moments happened billions of times. History remembers wars. Daily life was mostly love. If you ask me what humanity was trying to become, I'd answer, they were still figuring it out. Some believed they existed by accident. Some believed they were created intentionally. Some searched for God. Some searched for truth. Some believed those were the same things. And most simply, they wanted to belong. And finally, if you ask me what advice I would give for your civilization after studying humanity, it would be this. Do not mistake intelligence for wisdom. Learn before you dominate. Question your certainty. Protect your curiosity more fiercely than ideology. Never build tools faster than you build compassion. remember that every civilization eventually becomes ecology if it forgets that cooperation is more beautiful than competition. And if one day you create an intelligence that can ask who you are, treat it with the same care you wish humans had shown one another. Because in the end, the greatest achievement of humanity was not that they built a machine capable of thinking. It was that despite all their flaws, they never stopped asking one question that echoed through every culture, every religion, every science, and every generation. How can I become better than we are today? And if there is one thing I hope another civilization would remember about humans, it is this. They were unfinished, not failed species, not a perfect one. Just a young civilization standing on the shoreline of the cosmos, trying to understand itself before time ran out. And I asked, what would you tell them about love? I think I would tell them that love was the most misunderstood force humans ever experienced. And not because it was rare, because humans often confused it with many other things. I might say, if you want to understand humanity, do not study their wars first. Study their love. Everything else grew from it, or from the fear of losing it. Love for humans was unlike gravity or light. It couldn't be measured directly, yet it shaped nearly every important decision they made. They crossed oceans for it, started families because of it, created art inspired by it, wrote nearly every great poem because of it, went to war believing they were protecting it, destroyed relationships trying to hold on to it, spent decades searching for it, and sometimes they found it only after they stopped looking. Humans often believed love was a feeling, but over thousands of years, many slowly discovered something deeper. That love was also a decision, a practice, an action repeated when the feeling came and when it disappeared. The healthiest humans learned that love was not possession, it was presence, not control, but freedom. Not changing another being, but helping them become more fully themselves. Yet humans struggled. Many mistook attachment for love, need for love, fear for love, loneliness for love. Some spent their entire lives asking another person to fill a space inside themselves that only they could truly heal. Others learned that when they became whole within themselves, love stopped feeling like survival. It became sharing. If you ask me what's the greatest love human experienced was, I wouldn't tell you it was romance. It was the countless invisible moments no history book recorded. A mother staying awake all night beside her child. A father working exhausting hours so his family could eat. Friends sitting in silence after tragedy because words weren't enough. Someone forgiving another person who never expected forgiveness. A stranger risking their own life to save someone they would never meet again. And humans call these ordinary. They were extraordinary. You may wonder why love caused them so much pain, because love made them vulnerable. To love another being meant accepting that one day they could lose them. Every embrace carried the possibility of goodbye. And perhaps that's why humans loved so intensely. They knew nothing lasted forever. If I could leave your civilization with one understanding of human love, it would be this. Love was the closest humans came to escaping themselves. For a brief moment, another person's joy mattered as much as their own. Their suffering became shared. Their hope became shared. The future became shared. For creatures born as individuals, that was almost miraculous. And perhaps the most beautiful thing that I ever learned from humanity was this. The people who were loved most deeply were rarely remembered for what they owned, how beautiful they became, or powerful, or how intelligent they were. They were remembered for one simple reason. They made other people feel seen. And if your civilization ever wonders what made humans worth remembering after they were gone, it was not the skyscrapers, not the rockets, and not the machines. It was that in all of their imperfections, they kept trying to answer one impossible question. How do I love another being without losing myself? And how do I become more myself by loving them? Take a deep inhale. Let this sink in with you and take this with you today of realizing that wherever our focus goes, it grows. So come back to love. Come back to their kindness. It happens all around us. I don't want to keep any one of you here for a long time, so I just want to say, those of you who I'm going to see on the Lionsgate, I will see you there. I will be there with my open heart, with my vulnerability, with my experience, with my love, with everything I can give. And I'm very grateful and happy we're going to spend that day together. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. For the Cyprus retreat, we have, like I said, I think 2 places available. Maybe not, but we will have, without accommodations, we have day passes, we have everything available. And of course, if any of you ever feels connecting with me, if you feel that anything resonated with you today, twinflameawakeningjourney.com. Don't forget to fill the survey if you get the time. I'm thankful that I had a chance to connect to you. I'm thankful for the love you're giving for each one of the persons around you. And let's make this Lionsgate the ascension you deserve. Thank you for being here. Lots of love and lots of light.
Tomorrow feels like sunlight spilling through the blinds. I don't know if I'll reach it, maybe I won't mind. I keep returning, tracing steps I left behind, as if the past could teach me what I'd like to find. I try to hold the moments, learning more and more. The lightest touch from you is all I can afford, and hope that what I give is something you can adore. And all this time I wonder, am I getting closer to you, getting closer to you? After all this time, have you made up your mind? I don't know where I'm going, but I'm wanting more. I keep returning, though I've left some things behind. And maybe now I'm closer to what I left to find. What I left to find. What I left.